Once upon a time, long ago, in a peaceful and beautiful kingdom, there lived a kind queen and her only daughter, a young princess. The king of the land had passed away, so the queen raised her daughter with great love and care. The princess grew up, gentle, polite, and patient. She always spoke softly and treated everyone with respect. A good fairy also watched over the princess from afar. The fairy loved her very much and promised the queen that the child would always be protected, even when the queen could not be there. When the princess became older, the queen arranged a marriage for her with a young prince who lived in a faraway kingdom. He was said to be brave, kind, and wise, and the queen believed he would be a good husband. When the wedding day came near, the queen prepared everything for her daughter's long journey. She packed beautiful dresses, shining jewels, and precious stones into many chests. She kissed her daughter gently and said, "My dear child, take these gifts with you. Be happy with your prince and always remember who you are." The fairy then appeared and gave the princess a special horse named Falada. Falada was not an ordinary horse. He could speak, and he was loyal and brave. Before the princess left, the fairy cut a small lock of hair from the princess's head and gave it to her. "Keep this safe," the fairy said softly. "This lock of hair has magic. It will protect you if you are ever in danger." The queen also sent a waiting maid to travel with the princess. Each girl had a horse, and together they began the long journey to the prince's kingdom. At first, the road was easy, and the weather was warm. The princess felt hopeful and excited about her new life. After many hours of travel under the hot sun, the princess became very thirsty. They came to a small stream of clear water. The princess said kindly, "Please, dear maid, fetch me some water. I am very thirsty." But the maid looked at her with cold eyes and answered rudely, "If you are thirsty, get off your horse and drink by yourself. I am not your servant." The princess was shocked, but she said nothing. She got down from her horse, bent over the stream, and drank the water herself. As she drank, the magic lock of hair spoke in a sad voice. "Poor princess, if only your mother knew this, her heart would break." The princess heard the voice, but she stayed silent and climbed back onto her horse. They traveled on, and after some time, the princess became thirsty again. They reached another stream, and once more she asked the maid for help. Again, the maid refused and spoke with anger. The princess slowly got off her horse and bent down to drink. As she leaned forward, the magic lock of hair slipped from her pocket and fell into the water. The stream carried it away, and the magic was lost forever. The maid saw this and smiled cruelly. She knew the princess had lost her protection. At once, The maid stood tall and said, "Now you have no power. From this moment, I give the orders, and you must obey me." She forced the princess to change clothes with her. The maid put on the royal dress and jewels, while the true princess had to wear the simple clothes of a servant. The maid threatened her and said, "If you tell anyone the truth, you will lose your life." The maid then mounted Falada, and the true princess was forced to ride the poor, weak horse. When they arrived at the royal palace, the prince came out to greet them. He believed the maid was the princess and welcomed her with joy. The true princess stood quietly behind, looking like a servant. The false bride spoke proudly and told the prince that the girl with her was only a maid. She asked the prince to give the girl some work far away. The prince did not like the servant girl, but said she could help a little boy named Curdkin take care of the geese. The false bride then made another cruel request. She asked the prince to kill Falada, saying the horse was wild and dangerous. She feared Falada might speak and tell the truth. The prince agreed. When the true princess heard this, she cried and begged that Falada's head be placed under the dark city gate so she could see him every day. The prince allowed this. Every morning and evening, as the princess went out to watch the geese, she passed under the gate and spoke sadly to Falada's head. Falada answered her, and their voices were full of pain. In tea fields, the princess worked as a goose girl. When she sat in the meadow, she let down her long silver hair, which shone brightly in the sun. Curdkin saw the shining hair and tried to pull it, but the princess spoke softly to the wind. At once, a strong breeze blew Curdkin's hat far away. While he ran to get it, she finished combing her hair. This happened again and again, and Curdkin grew angry. At last, Curdkin went to the old king and complained about this strange girl. The king listened carefully and decided to watch for himself. He hid near the gate and heard the princess speaking to Falada. Then he hid in the meadow and saw the magic with his own eyes. That evening, he asked the goose girl why she behaved so strangely. At first, she cried and said she could not tell him, but the king was kind and promised to protect her. Finally, she told him the whole story, from beginning to end. The king was angry at the lie, but gentle with the princess. He dressed her in royal clothes again, and called his son. He told him the truth. That night, the king held a great feast and told the story as a lesson. He asked the false bride what should happen to someone who lies and steals another's place. She answered without thinking and judged herself. She was punished, and the true princess married the prince. They ruled the kingdom with kindness and peace. The good fairy returned and brought Falada back to life. And the princess never forgot the lesson. Patience and truth always win in the end.